I think in the past I've always just tried to be mesmerized with how to do a technique, the application of techniques, but not when and where and how to lead a man into tacticians of fighting. And Jiu-Jitsu is very much that way. You always hear the expression being a couple steps ahead of your opponent. But then in my striking career, for some reason, that just wasn't carrying over as much. It used to back in the day as a kid doing karate, because kind of has that mentality like, if I do this, my guy's gonna do this, or if I do this. But then all of a sudden I was starting to learn different striking arts and wasn't really applying that. It was almost like, okay, throw this combo, now do this combo, and and there was different answers, different questions, but it was almost kind of like, okay, give what he takes you type mentality. Whereas now boxing with Angelo Reyes and being down there and being in the gyms and watching, just sitting on the sideline and watching, Bermain Stavern, being able to be in the ring with him and move around and see that there's actually a chess game going on. That there's actually, this is a decoy punch, this is a setup, oh, this is what you're about to do, well, I'm going to direct you this way, and why I'm stepping over here to move you over here. And that I've been applying much more to my MMA game. And being in the boxing gym, seeing how much really boxing is a thinking man's game. But sometimes in MMA, we don't have the same boxing, a lot of MMA guys make the mistake of walking into a boxing gym and wanting to do MMA on a boxer. Well, you're not really learning the strategies now. You're not really applying it. You have to step back and do their world if you want to learn it. Just like if you want to become a good wrestler, you have to take the time to want to learn how to wrestle. Same with jiu-jitsu. You take the time to learn the art itself. If a guy wanted to learn how to do an arm bar and he's like, Frank, show me an arm bar, and I start to put him in an arm bar and he punches me in the mouth, I'm like, hey, relax, man. I'm just trying to show you, let me show you the movement first. And there is a defense for that once I get the concept down, but why don't you understand the concepts first, and then we can expand upon them and not take shortcuts. And so going that route and actually learning how to box is, and just scratching the surface of really what boxing's about. Such a beautiful, complex sport and such a thinking man sport that, the Klitschko's and, the guys out there that are, high-level boxers, like Oscar De La Hoya now, watching more of his film and stuff, obviously Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. It's funny, I used to maybe be part of that crowd that thought he was kind of, on the boring side, but now the more I keep learning about boxing, the more I'm fascinated watching him. Still my favorite right now is when I'm watching film and studying people is, Hagler. Going back and watching that style, more of a boxer puncher, I think is the most entertaining for me, where it's still a thinking man game, but with intentions to try to hurt your guy. Oh, it's extremely important to keep evolving and improving. I'm not out there getting submitted by people. I'm out there, so I wanted to improve the stand-up aspect of my game. And, and I've been out there and I've worked with great kickboxers, and I've worked with guys that are good boxing coaches in the past, but their style didn't really mimic what my body type and how I think works. The same with jiu-jitsu. I've worked with different jiu-jitsu guys and not pulled from them, and then I've worked with certain guys and really their style works for me. You can go to a tournament, watch a boxing tournament, watch a jiu-jitsu tournament, wrestling tournament. There's different styles out there, and sometimes it's luck whether you find the guy that fits your style of how your body connected, your natural physical attributes as an athlete, how you think already, and format that all together as one piece. And obviously you're improving, and you don't want to just do things because, well, I'm naturally not good at that. Well, no, let's work on it, improve. But still, there's a way of molding, just like, Bruce Lee said, you have to match it to you. And finding Angelo Reyes, his boxing style, that Freddie Roach style, works for me. That's my body style, the way my brain thinks, my certain athletic attributes, and my athletic downfalls fall well within those parameters. For the heavyweight division, we have the highest knockout percentage out of all the weight classes. And so you go out there and you know that somebody's going to get dropped, and knockouts, and there's excitement. If you look at just the mainstream fan, the 80% of the people that just are coming there to watch an exciting fight and might not understand the nuances and intricacies of a strategy going on. Think about it. If you really watched, it was very much of a mental combat between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, right? The way Mayweather was able to take him out of his positioning, able to try to nullify Pacquiao, who's so good at nullifying other people's footwork. And so people were disappointed with the fight. Well, I think people that are phenomenal, that understand boxing, were very impressed how Mayweather makes him miss by an inch and moves in, is able to shut down different positions and maneuver in different ways. But people were like, oh, there was no knockout. So knockouts are always where it's at, and the better we get at boxing and MMA, we're only going to up the percentage that we already have in the heavyweight division. I think Todd Duffee is very explosive and he's a very powerful fighter. I think he fights with not great boxing intricacies. The more I'm learning about boxing, the more I realize that, he throws because he's a good athlete. And that has bonuses. Obviously he lands a punch, he hits people, he hits them hard. But that is a short-lived way to fight. It takes a lot of energy. He has to be in phenomenal shape, and I don't care how great a shape you are in, that's going to wear you out. To have to throw punches with as explosively and as hard as he does with his body, he's not doing it structural with frame. If most good boxers watch him, they see where his head is over his knees, how he lunges in on things, they'll sit there and go, yeah, the guy's fundamentals aren't there. Well, that's like being extremely fast. That's great in a football game, but you're going to get tired after a while because you're using so much muscular energy to move and do the things you're doing. Where you see like a Royce Jones Jr., who also is a world-class athlete, but that guy could box for 36 rounds. You see a Mayweather who's a good athlete, is explosive and able to move because he's so structurally sound. The guy could fight like that. I mean, we could probably have him fight a 2-hour boxing match. Not because of being in phenomenal shape. I mean, the guy is in shape, but it's because he's structurally sound. When he throws a shot and he moves his hips, his feet, everything's under him, so his body's not as inefficient. He's not wasting energy. When I throw a punch, my intention is to throw fast and hard, but if I'm on balance, the recovery allows me to, if I miss, I can pull back and fire a second shot, or I can recover and move out of the way. Whereas when you're throwing and you have to throw your body weight behind things and you're moving over your feet and you're not structurally sound, when you make mistakes and make errors, now you're wasting energy. So I can throw 10 punches and another guy throws 10 punches. Mine's conserving energy because I'm doing it the right way. He's wasting energy because he's throwing punches the wrong way. It's easier to think that I just have to go in the gym and run on a treadmill, be in shape for a fight. And I think that's what a lot of guys think right now in MMA. It's like, we'll just go harder. Well, they'll get tired in the ring sparring 3 rounds. They're like, well, be in better shape. I'm like, no, it's not about being in better shape. It is. That's only one half of the animal. The other half is, well, you're throwing your punches so inefficiently that you have to be in 3 times the shape I have to be in to throw the same amount of punches and not be tired because you're doing it wrong. It'd be like, the simple way to explain it is if I had to lift up sandbags and we had to go upstairs, right? You can be in phenomenal shape and lift the wrong way, and you're gonna have to be in 3 times the amount of shape I'm in to be able to keep up with me because I'm gonna lift with my knees, I put my hips in the right place, I pick up, I'm efficient with my movements. So now I can run up and down the stairs like you, and now it comes down to me being in shape, but because I'm doing it the right way, my conditioning can be focused on just excelling me and not helping to make up for the fact that I'm technically inefficient.
Would you say that would help out, like in Cain Velasquez's case, with the altitude in Mexico City? Is this something that he failed to see?
I think one, and I think two. Another thing was that I think because Cain didn't get up there soon enough, I don't think he had enough hard practices up there, and so Cain has a very high work output, and I don't think he realized that maybe he had to adjust to the altitude. So he thought, I'm fighting like he fought with the same pace and tempo that he fights at sea level. He brought that game plan up there. And as a champion, I mean, you have injuries, your opponent has strengths and weaknesses, you have different factors that come into a matchup that you have to make adjustments on. And I think that his camp and him just failed to make that adjustment of, hey, when we get the takedown, why don't we just not throw 30 shots and let Verdum stand up. Let's smother him, carry him, let him carry our weight for a little while. Let's slow our pace down and not try to go crazy because of the thin air. No, I still feel that I just turned 36. As an athlete in the heavyweight division, I'm more in the middle to younger side of it. And then the division overall, I think, just keeps improving. At the UFC, I think the sky's the limit. I think right now we keep knocking on those international doors to try to become more of a worldwide brand, not just here in the Americas, where obviously South America, North America, we're huge, but breaking over there also too and becoming repopularized again in Japan like we at one time MMA was, and then right now we've got Macau and whatnot, a couple of fights there in China, and hopefully ended up into the Indian market would be a huge step.
Would we ever see you in a boxing ring?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually would be one of my goals. Obviously, I'm under contract with the UFC, but when next time I have a contract negotiation, I'm hoping to work out something.